Welcome to Atomicdieee's audiobook. Sit back and relax as you listen to the first chapter of the book A Weakness Called Love, The Memoirs of an African Housemaid, written by Glamty and narrated by Atomicdieee. Chapter 1. It was night and the moon was shining brightly, a perfect day for our night games. I was eager to go to the village ground because I know definitely he was going to be there. Yes, Moody my beloved will be there. I had to dress my best to get his attention. Although he is unaware of my feelings for him, I was determined to make him mine. I brought out my newest wrapper. It was blue and had paintings of a red peacock on it. It was sewn by Hajia Talatu, our village greatest fashion designer. I haven't gotten a single new wrapper for a year. When my mother sold her new dishes, she bought a wrapper each for me and my siblings to save us from the antagonizing backbiting and side remarks of the villagers. She had been saving for 5 years. Whenever the money reaches an amount that will buy her a dish, she buys and keeps it. She says she is saving for our marriage. Those dishes are valuable in my village and they fetch a buyer easily. I brought our loose red powder. I put a sizable amount on my palms and quickly rubbed it over my face. It was not very smooth, so I had to take my time to apply it gently. I brought our coal, which is made from either grounded charcoal or from the remains of burned tires. I did not know which mine was made from. I do not care to know as long as it served its purpose, and it did. It was held together by a transparent white nylon wrapped around it, and a matchstick is carefully inserted for easy application. I felt a sticky moisture on my palms. It made me look at my palms quickly. My hand was smeared with the black sticky content. I hissed, knowing it must have been my sister who caused the damage. That girl is never careful, I thought. Once I have made enough money, I will be getting one exclusively for myself. I grabbed the matchstick and ran it through the tips of my eyelids, put on a red lipstick over my lips. After tying my green and black head tie, I grabbed my shiny orange veil and headed for the door. Just then, my mother shouted, "Laddie!" putting her hands on her chest. I was startled and was taken aback by how loud she was. "Hajia, what's wrong?" I asked startled. Certainly something was wrong. "What are you wearing? Are you insane?" Oh, so this was what this is about. I kept quiet and didn't say a word, because come hell come heaven I wasn't changing. I was going to wear these clothes for a reason, and not all the world's yelling can make me change into something less elegant. Today is the beginning of a new phase in my life. Yes, a new phase. Today I stop daydreaming and pursue the man of my dreams. I know society expects the man to make the first move, but I'm done waiting. Asaba, my uncle's wife, who was watching us from a corner, moved closer and said angrily, "Take them off. Are you going to a wedding?" My mom became uncomfortable. She always concedes to my every demand, although the entirety of the village think they were always unreasonable. I glared at Asabi before focusing my gaze on the ground. My mother then said, "I guess you can wear it just for tonight. After tonight, you shall only wear them on weddings and special occasions." I smiled and walked past Asabi with a glare, who was dumbfounded. Our courtyard wasn't much, but it was spacious, about a hectare. It had different huts made of mud and thatched roof, and other small-sized rooms made of mud that were roofed with aluminium iron sheets. Different families from my father's lineage live in that house, each having a room or 2 rooms, depending on the number of wives that family has. Whenever a male member is getting married, he constructs a room and his wife moves in with the family. The females move to their husband's house. My grandfather's hut is at the far end of the compound. Next to it are 2 adjoined rooms for his 2 wives, Maimunari and Salamatu. Salamatu is my grandmother. She is about 55 years old, while Maimunari is in her mid-20s. She bore him 4 children. My grandfather's sons, Sali and Doda, also live in a hut each. Sali lost his wife a year ago. All his children are married, so they live in separate huts, but he lives alone. My 5 brothers are also married and live in the compound separately. Doda is the youngest brother of my father and the husband to Asabi, the eavesdroppy Asabi. Doda, my father's brother, recently moved out of our compound because his family had grown rapidly over the years. He needed a compound of his own. There were roughly about 50 people living in my house. I was out of the house. I decided to check on my friend Shetu so we can hit the village square together, who also happened to be my cousin. She is a daughter to my uncle Doda, who recently moved out. I was in a foul mood. I had Asabi to thank for that. I had reached the entrance to their room when I stopped on my tracks. Suddenly, I had a change of mind. I was not going to enter her house anymore. I shouted, "Shatu!" There was silence for some reason that angered me. I shouted on the top of my lungs, "Shatu!" a couple more times before she appeared with her mother behind. I ignored the mother and focused on the daughter instead, not bothering to greet. I said to Shatu, "Are you going or not?" The mother cleared her throat to make me aware of her presence. Now I will have to endure a conversation with the nosy woman. "Good evening," I said coldly. No sooner had I closed my mouth and she had already started. "I don't know what you guys have been doing in the village games, but you have to try a lot harder to get yourselves out there. Have you heard Gaji had already gotten a suitor? And she is 2 years younger than you two. You are 15 for God's sakes. The Lord knows I don't want to end up with the likes of Hajisani for an in-law." This was exactly what I was trying to avoid. I don't have to be reminded of my failure. I know I was in a danger zone and my body is not exactly helping. I still had breasts the size of a peanut. Gaji, on the other hand, has full breasts and she's only 13. I'm slim and tall, at least taller than most of my age mates. My face was oval-shaped. I have a fair skin tone, thick plump lips and a fairly pointed nose. Shatu is chubby, which is attractive, but she walks like a retard, her body shaking after every move. She has a round face, small nose and a slightly big lip. She had a high-pitched voice. Her breasts were not big, but at least they were visible. She was not poised at all. She can go into a physical combat with anyone, anywhere, but she was strong and beats all her opponents. I somehow like her for it. I had a bad mouth and often do not choose my words carefully. Together we are the tornado. We took no shit. We were a force to be reckoned with. We have come to the end of today's chapter. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Khadija Nasser and at Atomicdieee on Twitter, and subscribe to my podcast and YouTube channels at Atomicdieee. And also don't forget to hit the notification button so that you will be informed whenever I post a new chapter. Thank you for listening and bye ta! Love ya!
And we give you